2, 3, 1. We're live. Hi there, everybody out in Facebook land. Thank you so much if you're watching this. If you don't have time to watch it now, come back. And we'll also be posted on my YouTube channel, Tada by Cat, where we have another 37 episodes. Kevin Htain from Southern California, my dear friend, talented master stager colleague, and also HGTV star, is going to be sharing his wisdom with us. And you want to stay tuned because we both have engagements and we're going to cut this off at the 30 minutes. We are going to share, Kevin's going to share in a chat with me this morning on mistakes you don't want to make when hiring a professional staging company to sell probably the biggest investment that you'll ever make in your life. You want top dollar, and I don't care how crazy the market is. This is the time to squeeze every dollar out. And if you're just putting up a sign, putting it in MLS and praying someone sells it and go, oh, I'll get multiple offers. Yeah, you will. But how much money did you tear up? I can't tear this. How much money did you leave on the table? That's what we're going to help you decipher today. So without further ado, Kevin, thank you so much, first off, for joining me, because I know in Southern California, it's super early for you. So thank you so much. It's my joy and pleasure to introduce Kevin. Kevin, tell us a little bit, introduce yourself. I know you're with Identity Home Staging and Design, as well as the lead stager for several HGTV shows. So lots of experience, creativity, et cetera. But tell us a little bit briefly how you got in the business, and then we'll just dive right into the first topic.
Okay. Well, my mom is actually the one who brought me into this industry.
I
opened up my interior design firm back in 2005. She told me to add on a staging component onto it because everyone in Northern California was staging their homes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what is that?
What is staging?
So I went through the education, took the course, and then I started adding on staging as a component to my interior design business, and it took off.
So you started out in interior design.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a trained interior designer, but I'm a stager at heart.
I know you're a stager at heart. So I'm going to make a Barb Schwartz quote here, and that is, if you don't know what the difference is between staging and design, we decorate to enjoy. That's where your designer comes in, and we stage to sell. Now, does that mean that they don't cross over? Yes, they do, because someone who has a design background is going to use the elements of design to make a fabulous staging project that's going to get you the results. So, and your mom was a broker back then too, right, Kev?
Yeah, still is.
Okay. Awesome. So let's dive right in for our first topic. And I know you and I chatted a little bit last night. We could talk for probably 3 hours on what to do and what not to do. But we want to hit some key points to help folks out there, because this is the time, that folks maybe who thought they didn't want to sell are going, I really want to maximize the market because the market is so hot right now. We're doing that actually for my mother-in-law, coming up this week. Instead of renting it out and dealing with the whole rental thing, she's going to maximize the market and sell as well. We will be fully staging it, even though it's a little home and it's not high end. Every home deserves to be staged. So number one mistake Kevin and I talked about, and I'm going to let him elaborate, is you don't want to hire the cheapest quote or staging company that you find. And why is that, Kev? Can you give us three, because I know there's a ton, but give us the 3 top reasons that folks who maybe have never hired a staging company before, why they don't want to go with the cheapest.
Well, if you look at it statistically, everyone's in there to make a profit and have a profit margin for the business. So you must consider the cheapest quote is probably going to be using the cheapest materials. And it comes down to stage materials and how we use them as cast of characters is very important. So
that's key, Kevin, how they use them.
Yeah, they could be using plastic glassware or plastic plates from Big Lots or something else, and that's maybe not what you see in a multi-million-dollar listing. or the pillows maybe, you know, look like they're like really bad, and they're very cheaply constructed, and it's obviously a bed in a bag. It just doesn't have the elevation that you're supposed to be doing. So that's why we're going in with the cheapest staging one. You're not trying to go for the cheapest at the bottom of the barrel. You're trying to look for the best quality. The quality is what's going to bring in the above asking price, and it's going to get in the faster sale. It's not the quantity and the cash dollar final amount of how cheap you can get away with doing staging, because you don't want to do that. You want to do the necessary things that you have to do to the property to get it to sell at its next level. You don't want to just do the bare minimum
for top dollar. That is such a good point, Kevin. You know, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because some folks, you know, well, it's just a flip, you know, or it's a multi-million. My opinion is either way, you want top dollar, because again, as Barb Shore says, staging creates emotion. We say it, ta-da. At ta-da, we create that emotion that buyers justify the price with. So, you know, I'm just a flipper, you know, it's just a whatever bottom rate. Well, and there's multiple offers. Yes. But again, are you leaving equity? Are you leaving money on the table in this hot market because you're not creating that emotion? Because again, buyers will justify price with emotion. So Kevin, like what you said, and I know you and I do, you know, quite a bit of luxury. You've got higher end luxury, of course, because of the real estate market in the SoCal area. But those buyers, and I loved what you said last night about the demographic when you were interviewing, you know, we were talking about interviewing, whether it's occupied, mixed media or what have you, is you, like I always ask, who's the buyer? Who do you feel the buyer is? Are they working in the med center in Houston? Are they in the movie industry in SoCal? Are they Asian ethnicity? Is it big family? Is it empty nester, professional? Those are such key. And if your staging professional is not asking you those questions, they are not marketing, because staging is what, Kevin? Marketing, right?
marketing.
It's the most. Yeah, it is marketing.
Tool.
So if you just have a stager who's out there and go, oh, I can make it pretty and fluff pillows and do whatever, and they're not asking you those poignant questions, you know, it's something you might want to think about, because again, you know, you want return on your investment, or what we call ROSI, return on staging investment. And you're going to get that through a professional such as Kevin, who's going to ask you those questions, because it's going to be presented with that buyer in mind. And I'm going to ask you this question, Kevin, because I know you've had this where, you know, sellers want to, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting more sellers calling me, even sometimes before the realtor, right? Because they're watching HGTV, they're watching you on HGTV. They're like, I got to do something. It's got to look good. But let me ask you this, Kevin. How many times have you had people go, well, oh, good. You know, I like green, so a green sofa would be great. What would your response be to that, Kevin?
I don't stock a green sofa.
Okay. We went down the wrong thing, because I do an apple green sofa set that in 3-story townhouses that is off the hook. But here's what I'm trying to get at is, and I'm going to play a little role play here. Well, Kevin, Mr. Seller, you know, that's great, but what I'm going to do, in my professional opinion as a master staging professional, is I'm going to look at the fixed elements. I see that you've got these colors in the backsplash. You have some beautiful silk drapes. We're going to bring that all together in a cohesive look. And I respect that you like green, but we're probably going to use white linen, whatever the thing is. You know, we need to let sellers know that it's about appealing to the psychographics that you talked about. Is it Asian? Is it professional? Is it single? Is it family? That's what it's all about, appealing to the buyer. So, you know, that's nice.
Most
that you
yeah, you want to get you want a bidding war. You want to get as many offers as possible.
Yes. So we want to appeal to a broader audience for that demographic, sociographic, which is going to be different for each home. That's what I love about this business. I feel that each space is a living, breathing entity. And and we bring it to life, specifically and uniquely, every space. So let's talk about, so definitely don't go for the cheapest, the old adage, you get what you pay for.
Very true. Very true.
Right. And unfortunately or fortunately, this industry, and Jenny, our guru from Stage Times, will tell you that, there's a lot of, I don't know, someone calls them Sally stagers, or stagents, or, there's not it's not regulated. So Kevin and I talked about that training. Kevin and I are both consummate, always a student. So we, I have 3 color certifications. Kevin's list is a mile long. We love to learn and bring the best to our clients. But is that critical? We both kind of agree that what's more critical is look at their portfolio when you're hiring. Because again, it's not that they're bad. Kevin and I both started out doing some things we're going to tell you. You probably, you don't want to have someone who's uninsured, someone who's schlepping a couch, hubby's schlepping a couch on a U-Haul. However, look at their portfolio, because that's going to tell you whether it's a match. Like, I'm not a match for everybody. If you want something more traditional, I can tell you who to call, but don't call me. I'm not going to do traditional, right? Exactly. And not every stager, don't you find, Kevin, even in California, not every staging company can do and has the inventory for luxury that you do?
Yeah, you have to have a huge repertoire of inventory to take on mixed medias and also luxury homes, because some luxury homes are modern and some of them are more traditional. So you need very big repertoire of furniture and
art. I know you've teamed up with an artist in SoCal. I'm now creating custom textile and biophilia myself, but I also team up with local Houston artists. I love to showcase their art. But however you do it, you need to have the eye and the training. And, I know we've all seen luxury spaces that have double hung windows and huge walls, and you've got little puny art and it's hung too high or too whatever. That's where experience and training comes in. But definitely your luxury professional stager is a cut above. And if that's what you're looking for, certainly, look at their portfolio to see if that's a match, right?
Can they support it? Do they have enough inventory for it? If all the photos looking the same? That's another question too. Do all the portfolios look the same? That could be a sign that they're either don't have furniture of their own, or they're using a rental furniture company, and they may not get that hand curated look that they're looking for.
Yes, Kevin. And again, I'm not putting down anybody. We all had to start out renting, but I quickly up leveled. So did Kevin, because it wasn't curating the look that I wanted my brand and what I wanted my perfect Soul Tribe client to be. So very quickly, I needed to hand select, hand curate, and spend a whole bunch of money. But what has that done? It also gives flexibility for your client. You're not having to, I can't get the moving company until, whatever. But you're going to get that customized look for those unique properties. And every one of your properties are unique out there. They're very special. They have their own special nuances. And one of our joys and one of my pleasures is doing corrective staging. I call it corrective staging because there's no floor plan that's perfect, right?
Yeah.
They all have some kind of nuance that we as designers / stagers need to take into consideration when we're designing that, to make it most appealing, to make sure there's flow for walk, to make sure it's inviting, to make sure it has a feng shui ability. All of those things, take into consideration to create that feeling. So look into that. Don't make the mistake of not asking those questions. Do you rent or own your furnishings? Biggest thing, as Kevin mentioned, is, pictures, 1,000 words. Look at that portfolio. Okay. I look at mine often and I go, it's quite eclectic. You can see that I can do from flipper small to luxury to, transitional. Folks who know me in the industry know I love color. Color is complicated. Color is intriguing. color's fun. And although Kevin doesn't do an apple couch, I have successfully used 2 apple green sofas. But what I have found, Kevin, is I got rid of my red sofa. I sold it to a restaurant, but my apple green I absolutely love. We pair it with browns and blues, and we'll use that in a
My
three-story.
red sofa is the one that I sold. That's what I was referring to. Like, I had a red sofa from Pier 1.
Yeah,
We just stopped staging with the color red. So I mean,
it's just too out there. Yep.
yeah, so we sold that puppy. We were like, and then we first, sure enough, we got the phone call back in from the same flippers, and they're like, "Don't forget, we like the color red." And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, I sold that." So
And that's why I'm so hesitant to get rid of stuff. I almost wasn't going to part with a brand new chair from Coaster. I'm like, things are so hard to come by because of the supply chain. I'm even hesitant to sell it to my design clients because am I going to be able to replace it, especially as we approach the busy season? But sure enough, but I know you and I have gotten around that. I'm not going to divulge how many pillows you have, but I want to talk to you further about your pillow organization. Movable color. So, you learn in this business, how to maximize what you have, or you could go broke very quickly. You can't treat every space as a design and customize it. It would cost them 10 times more. But movable color, which is why Kevin and I love pillows. So, pillows and throws and accessories, that's where you can bring in your color pop. I am known not to be what I call a beige on grayish staging professional, and that that's okay.
do it. I've tried it, and I can certainly pull it off, but it looks boring as hell.
Boring.
It just looks so blanche and boring. Like any other stager could do it, and I'm like,
yes.
And everything's modern, and everything's got texture, and there's no personality.
There's no personality. It's cookie cutter. It's cookie cutter, Kevin. And
it's too easy to do, and everybody's doing it.
Exactly. But in the defense, and I guess this is why I have gone on and taken 3 color certifications. It's because there's not confidence in color. Yeah. Once you have confidence in color, you can use it to your advantage. And here's the misnomer. Some people think, well, they may not like that color. It doesn't matter. Color raises vibration. Color raises energy.
They're not buying the house from themselves anyways.
Right. So you just want to create that feeling. They can go, oh yeah, I would put, they're going to envision their stuff in it. Okay. So we talked about credentials, third-party testimonials, looking at the portfolio. Let's elaborate, Kevin, on third-party testimonials. You and I chatted last night about, you really want to showcase those testimonials and put them up front and so forth. And not only for millennials, I'm far from a millennial, but whenever I buy anything, I'm looking at the testimonials and the reviews. And if it don't look good, if there's enough that don't look good, because there's always that 1%er sourpuss, but if there's enough that don't look good, I'm going to make my decision on that. Would you agree on staging on that, Kevin? What's your experience on the power of folks looking at the reviews and the testimonials?
Yeah, definitely. Take those testimonials, gather as many as you can that make sense for your business, then drive it all the way up to the top of your website.
Right. So that's for a business owner, but let's talk to the sellers. Why is it important for someone hiring a staging professional, and what should they be looking for in testimonials?
They should be looking for how well they worked along with the clients and how the ease of how easy it was to work with them.
The ease. I want to pause right there. Because, portfolio is fine. You can be the best, whatever, and it's great. But, let's talk about real estate. I've said many times, being a realtor, and I hold my license, real estate is not for the faint of heart. Your mom would be a testimony to that. You guys have to juggle a lot of balls and handle cray people sometimes. And there's just a lot of pieces to the puzzle to put together, and potentially a lot of stress. Also, the home seller, the myriad of reasons people are selling, they're good and they're bad. They're getting married, they're getting divorced, they had a birth of a baby, they had a death, they had a promotion, they had a demotion. These are all right. These are all emotion filled. So what Kevin said is just so spot on, that you want to look at testimonies that talk about how easy it was to work with Kevin. He made the process so simplified. He took care of everything. He kept me informed every step of the way. Things like that, because those are things, guys, that, again, you go with the cheapest, you get the cheapest, And
you're not going to those service points with the cheap ones. It's about getting as many service points in as possible and helping the family really make it to the next place where they're going to, intact and with good. It's performing at your best potential as well too.
Absolutely.
Not deserve that right to perform at their best potential.
Yes.
Everybody deserves that right. That's all that staging is.
Absolutely.
God-given potential.
And you made a good point there, Kevin. We are, and I tell my team this, all the time, you guys have a really important role, because you're helping beautify, through your creativity, your talent, your experience, to maximize the potential and help a family move on to the next step of their real estate and really life journey. And I mean, it's really, you need to think about that. It's not just going in and fluffing some pillows and walking out, right? It's really an important role that we have. And oops, did I lose you?
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. I might have hit a button. Sorry. Okay. So we talked about third-party testimonials. Okay, so let's talk about specialty. So again, you're looking to hire a staging company. You want to see if they're a good fit. I know Kevin and I both, the majority of our business is from referrals, but we don't stop marketing and seeking new clients, et cetera. It's just part of the business you have to do to stay in business. But you want to look at whatever project that you have coming up. Of course, you're going to look at their portfolio, but what do they specialize in? Or what is their breadth of services? So, and you and I talked about mixed media. Tell our viewers what is considered a mixed media. I know we're doing a lot more, especially now that we bought our transit. And so we're able to help more folks with not just surface decor, but some furniture we can load up, et cetera. Tell folks what is a mixed media staging. So vacant, they pretty much know it's a key room, sometimes 3 to 5 rooms, sometimes the whole house. We rarely do the whole house. There's occupied walk and talk, where it's a DIY. You do everything that we give a professional opinion to. And then an up level to that would be, I know for us, that has to be a prerequisite, a consultation. Then if you want to up level it from that, we can come in and bring power pieces and actually stage. So how do you work your mixed media, Kevin, product?
That's the way I do it. I'll go into a property, and I'll make my assessments of what needs to stay and what needs to go. And then I will start to backlog inside my brain and through stage 4. So what do I have in inventory that's going to go alongside with the dining table, for example? So I'll supply the dining chair to the dining table. And the idea is to make it look like as if it naturally exists.
Yes.
So you have to have a very big repertoire of furniture in order to do that.
You do. So I call it power pieces, and I really love that. Yes, it's fun to go into a new model home, or you're freshly refurbished, because you can pick whatever palette and make it all happen. It's very easy. It's more challenging, and we get to flex our creative and talent muscles, really, I think, in the mixed media, because you do have to take into consideration the fixed elements of that particular property, the things that are going to be staying, and how can you augment those, level them up, and bring in what I call power pieces. And yeah, those power pieces are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
They can be. We shop smart, but they can be expensive.
Yeah, they can. You can find some really good deals once in a while, but those power pieces, those.
So Kevin, I'm just curious. Do you ever? We make it a habit, usually, and unless they're not living there and they've left some furniture, like we have one coming up, then I'll bring in soft goods like rugs and bedding. But do you? I stopped doing that, bringing in soft goods, unless it's a room they don't use. How do you handle bringing, or do you bring in soft goods?
I do for all the bedrooms that I stage. If I don't stage a whole entire house, then they won't bring in all the bedding for all of them. In
a mixed media where they're living there.
Yeah,
what do you do?
It's just very topical. You just throw it on top of the bed, and then in the morning you just throw it off the bed, and then you just kind of dress up the bed and make it look all good again.
Oh, okay.
We show them how to do them.
Yeah, we take a picture and go, this is how you want to make your bed up, because we've added this and that. So I'm getting more lenient on that, but I'm a pet lover, but if they've got animals, I'm not bringing any rugs in. My rugs are too expensive. Yeah. I lost your audio.
No, Chris keeps calling me, and I'm like,
oh, hi, Chris. He's busy.
Right.
He's busy. We have 4 more minutes, Chris. Chris is his partner, and they're going out to a very interesting meeting later today. I can't wait to hear about it. I know it's going to go awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see.
So we've got about 4 minutes here. Do you want to touch on virtual staging? We're talking about, don't make these mistakes. And so I think it's a valid conversation that we should wrap up with, because folks, again, who don't have experience, whether you're a realtor or seller, may think, oh, this much for staging. Oh, this much for a virtual picture. Oh, I'll go with virtual staging. Why is that not a good idea, Kev?
Because it doesn't work. I mean, I've gone head to head against many staging properties that were virtually staged, and they got no result. And then we staged it, and it got an immediate result, or even above asking price result. And they're thinking, why did we do this before? And I'm like,
thank you for that, Kevin. That's a golden thumbs up.
I'm just like, exactly. Why didn't we do this before? We could have been done with this a lot sooner. So now people are starting to understand that the virtual staging just doesn't do anything for the buyer, and the real estate agents are getting tired of wasting their money on that. So they're just very heavily.
They're throwing away their $100 or whatever they paid per room. They're throwing it away. I told you before we went live, Kev, I get a call at least once a month, either an agent or seller who tried virtual staging and they're not getting the results. Now you might say, well, I got lots of showings. Yeah, you got showings. If you had good virtual staging and not Barbie dollhouse looking staging, you will get more showings. But what happens? They walk in, they feel duped. There's no transfer of emotion. And bottom line is, it's transfer of emotion. People are going to justify buying this home because they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it. And they don't feel it when they walk in. They feel like, what? Well, I saw it all staged beautifully online. And, the emotion's not there. It's just not there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in the picture. They lose all the motion. They also cheat out, like the one that we went up against. They had no dining room inside there. You walked into the place, and I'm like, where's the dining room? And so we had to create a dining room within the space. And finally, when we saw there was a dining room, they're like, oh, maybe one person saw the photo and said, oh, the virtual stage photos looked a little bit more airy and open. But the one that we did that was real staging looked more realistic, and that
they could imagine how they're living, because buyers don't buy what they can't see. And that's really the genius of what we do, Kevin, is creating spaces where there aren't spaces, creating movement and that feeling where maybe it was a challenge to do that because of the setup. we've had a similar thing where it was just so freaking open. You had to create zones. And unless you are experienced and you know about creating zones and you know how to do that, one of the biggest things I see, and I'm going to got 1 minute here, in Occupied, and I know you do, is folks just putting their furniture up against the wall.
The walls.
Because they have no idea how, and they look at you like, zones? Yeah, let me show you how to create zones. And you're going to have
away from the walls.
Yes, and if you have to anchor the couch with a sofa table, so it doesn't feel like it's floating, do that. Have an anchor rug. Yeah, and it's magic. It's what we do is magic, Kevin. And you are so magical, and it has been my joy to have you. I'm going to stay on time here to get you. I know Chris is, like, hey, we got to go. Thank you so much, Kevin. Real quick, what's the best way if somebody wanted to reach you? You're in Southern California. If someone wanted to reach you to ask you some questions or find out about your services, what's the best way to reach you? Yeah.
Oh, easy. Via email or via our website. You can always reach me at kevin@identityhome.com.
Okay.
Or our website, which is simply identityhome.com.
Identityhome.com. Yep.
Yeah, anything that has any social media handle is all under the common username Identity Home. So you'll find us on Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube,
everywhere.
Facebook, under Identity Home. Yes.
Awesome. So reach out to Kevin. He's been just a joy and a jewel to get up so early to meet with us. And until next Friday, stay hopeful, stay positive, and stay connected. And thank you so much for connecting with me and Kevin today. And have a beautiful weekend. I want to hear about your meeting, Kevin, later. Tell Chris.
I will, for sure.
All right. Bye, sweetie.